Yo, what's going on, basketball world? It's me, Fresh X,
Jon Dubya,
and we are the Hoopers. So this is first episode of the Hoopers, and it's a good time, to talk to Hoopers because the trade deadline just passed yesterday.
All-Star draft just passed yesterday as well.
Right, and it's been a lot of craziness going on so far in the NBA for the last 2 weeks. I mean, from Anthony Davis trade request to, like you say, the deadline, the All-Star game. So a lot going on in the NBA, but I definitely want to jump into the trade deadline first, if you don't mind.
We can definitely start at the trade deadline.
So, yeah,
I know a lot of people didn't. I seen a lot of people on Twitter saying they didn't like this trade deadline. I think that was only said because Anthony Davis and the Lakers didn't get together.
I agree.
But this was a very interesting trade deadline.
Very active.
Very active. It put teams to contend not only this year, but maybe even contend next year and the years past.
So, who are kind of three winners you got, or three trades that stood out to you, but definitely three winners of trades?
I'm definitely going from, important to maybe more important. Important being Harrison Barnes getting sent to Sacramento.
Right, that's a
Dallas.
Good move. Really good move for Sacramento. Fringe playoff team that actually may push them into the playoffs.
And that puts De'Aaron Fox in a very important role because now he doesn't have to be your second scorer.
Right.
He can be a little more free on offense, playmaking for himself and his teammates, and they bring in a player who can consistently get you 17 to 20 points in Harrison Barnes that also has playoff experience, but is still young.
Championship experience,
excuse me.
2 finals under his belt.
Right.
1 win, 1 loss. And so, yeah, I agree with that. And De'Aaron's like 17-7 right now, a little over 17.5.
But he's giving you 20 and like 45 from 3. I could be wrong. We can look that up later.
And Harrison slides right in. And they've needed a wing for a while. And it works as far as them trying to make the playoffs now and for the future. Because Harrison, he's 25, 26, 24. He's not that old. I know he's been in the league a couple years.
I'm pretty sure Sacramento got some money to spend.
Right.
And that also helps. I think that also helps other players in Sacramento, because now you can move players around and you can run a small ball lineup with the quicker Marvin Bagley at the 5.
Yep, more minutes for Bagley. He's averaging a double-double. He's really, I've been checking him out the last few games, and this man get 10 rebounds like it's nothing. So
that's the part I really like about Marvin Bagley game. He's not there yet offensively all the way, but as far as energy go, crashing offensive boards, getting backdoor lobs, he's definitely a good player for that. Him and De'Aaron Fox works good in that way.
Yep. And Sacramento kind of clear out. We all knew coming into the year they had so many bigs after drafting Bagley, so they clear out that logjam because they got rid of Zebo. Shout out to Zebo. I'm pretty sure he's gonna hit the buyout market, so it'd be interesting to see who gets Zebo. But so now you're down to Bags, and you have Willie Cauley-Stein.
Right. So those are your big. That's a good. And like I said, you throw Harrison Barnes in there as a stretch forward as well.
And all young bigs also. So
which is a good thing. They can all learn and grow together.
Right.
Another trade, Sacramento.
Sacramento looks good going forward.
And another trade they also made to clear up that log jam in the front court is trading Scal to Portland.
Right. I didn't even know that happened. Who did they move for Scal to Portland?
Move for Scal?
You know off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head. It was Caleb Swanigan.
Swanigan. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So now,
this might actually be an opportunity because Swanigan, he ain't played much this year, but he played some minutes.
When he gets in there, he was a good rebounder in college at Purdue. Actually, so he's still been able to translate that, especially as a smaller big. He's good sound when it comes to boxing out. So that was also a good pickup. He probably won't play much this year, but he will be able to help them.
I don't know. That could be a good thing for Scal. I forget the Scal's in the league. So, but going to Portland, his opportunities there. There's definitely nobody in their front court that's keeping him from not playing. So it's like it's time to develop.
Outside of Nurkic, which him and Nurk might play together. So him and Nurk might be able to play together.
Right. Scal has perimeter skills.
And with his length and range. Let's see. The Porzingis to Dallas trade.
That was a surprising quick.
Right.
Surprising and quick. And I think a good trade for both sides, but who do you think may have gotten the better out of that?
In the long run, Dallas, because
I agree.
We're all talking, everybody's talking about the Knicks having this cap space for 2 nice players.
They had cap space in 2010. They
got So you got Amari and Raymond Fells. Those were they picked up. No diss to either one of those players. Amari was an all-star.
Amari was an MVP candidate, but his knees were clearly done, and he only lasted half the season. He was done by All-Star break.
Back to the Knicks in 2019.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee that cap space is going to work in their favor. Right. But as far as Porzingis go, we know at his worst right now he can at least give you 22, 50% from the field, mid to high 30s from three, and maybe 1.5 to 2 blocks a game.
Right, made his first All-Star appearance before he tore his ACL last year, which is a bad injury, but ACL is like it's so common nowadays, and with science and technology, I think it's safe to say, even with as tall and long as Porzingis is, I think it's safe to say he's gonna come back solid. So.
And then teaming him and Luka up for the next 6 to 10 years.
Nasty.
That could be the second best. That can be the second best pick and roll combo since who? Jared Stockton, Karl Malone, maybe. Is there maybe
almost? And then with the size, no disrespect, and you got to see when it plays out. But with the size, it could be potentially better. I mean, Luka's 6'8", Porzingis is 7'3", 7'4". So I mean, and they both can play on the perimeter.
They both can shoot it. So
both have good, passing skills. Obviously, Lucas is better at being a guard, but Porzingis isn't that bad with passing the ball.
Which means you can't switch it. You can't go under it.
Definitely don't switch.
You can't cheat. You can't cheat it because Luka has the vision to split the trap on there and still find an open shooter or create a shot for himself. So, especially since adding the little James Harden step back to his game.
Long way to go to get there, but it's almost honestly as deadly as Steph and KD could be, because it's really like pick your poison. KD's a way, way, way better ball handler than Porzingis. So I mean, if you can make Porzingis handle the ball, maybe you got something. He's 7'4". If you switch on him, he's shooting over you.
Right.
So,
and if you close out too fast, he does have the skill to he has the skill and the foot speed.
One dribble, he's dunking on you. Right. So,
and then with Luka Doncic, like you say, he's 6'8". He can see over. They're probably gonna play him at point guard a little now,
right.
So he's gonna be able to see over everybody except Ben Simmons, basically.
Pretty much. And the best thing about Luka to me, he is like the most patient player I've seen since. I don't know. He's like Kyle Anderson as far as how he moves so slow, and then he could just explode on you. And I've seen him dunk on a few people. When he's ready to pull up on that jump shot, as slow as his release may be, I ain't seen nobody come close to blocking it. So that's a nasty tandem going forward. And we're talking Porzingis. This is his third. He's not playing this year, but this is his third year in the league. Luka's a rookie. Like this is like 10.
This is fourth
year in the league. So this is like 10 plus years potentially happening. Players, especially high-level players, play into 15, 16 years nowadays until they really start declining. So, I mean, look at Dirk's in 20. I don't know, Dirk hasn't been relevant in about 3-4 years, but he's in 20. 3-4 years ago, which was 17, 16, he still was contributing. Right. So, hey, give me 10 years of Luka Porzingis.
I like it.
Like, for real.
And I think the Knicks came out good getting Dennis Smith. They're going to hold on to DeAndre Jordan for the year.
Dennis Smith is interesting considering that, and I'm literally just thinking about this right now. He's interesting considering the Knicks are going after point guards. They want Kemba Walker. They want Kyrie Irving. You're not playing and Dennis Smith is an amazing athlete, and he's probably way taller than I think he is, but he looks like he's 5'7". I know he's way taller than that.
Pretty sure he's listed as 6'2".
Yeah, and even 6'2" is not big enough with someone as unathletic as Kyrie and
somebody
Kemba.
as short as Kemba.
Yeah, they're both very unathletic. They're not that explosive. Great players, effective players, but I wouldn't want two small guards in the backcourt like that. Because Dennis Smith is not like Dame and CJ where they're both such good shooters
that you can
Kyrie can shoot. Kemba's a streaky shooter. I don't really respect Dennis Smith's jump shot at this moment, even though I do think he can go get a bucket. But I like Dennis Smith there. I'm just wondering
what are they thinking.
Yeah.
So next, and we also have, I think, which was the biggest trade, Tobias Harris and Boba. And
disclaimer: I've been a Philly fan since Allen Iverson. But I try to not to be biased. But I think Philly did the best at trade deadline. Right. So, but why do you have them on there?
Why do I have them on there? They address three needs, in my honest opinion. Shooting.
Yep.
Another 3-and-D player.
Yeah.
And a backup for Joel for maybe 15 to 20 minutes a game.
Right. You only need Boba in 15, 12 to 15.
And Mike Scott, who also throws in versatility, which I think they've been missing at that 4. He's not necessarily the shooter that Tobias is, but he's probably the better athlete.
Yeah, I'm not sure what his numbers are. I'm going to pull them up now, but I think Mike Scott is shooting a decent percentage from 3. I know he has good size on him, So, I agree with that.
And I think that helps Philly in so many ways, because you can have, now with Tobias not only being a shooter but a scorer, you can play different lineups. You can have him out there with Embiid as a perimeter scorer. You can have him out there as Ben.
And excuse me real quick. Mike Scott, he's shooting 39% from 3, so that's really
very respectful.
It's really good.
Especially he's got to come off the bench and not spot minutes, but it's in rotational minutes. So
I can see games where Mike Scott is out there in the fourth quarter, and I can see games where he don't play in the fourth quarter. That's the kind of player he is. He can play big minutes for you, and then some games you don't need him. Like, all right, Mike, and he's a good. It's like having Tobias still coming off the bench, kind of. So,
but more athletic, probably
athletic.
A better defender,
right? And Tobias is a better player, period. So, yeah, I definitely have Philly as my overall winner. I believe from one with the Tobias trade because they had Wilson Chandler starting at the 4. That wasn't gonna do it. Mike Muscala is a solid player, but that wasn't gonna do it. So you get Tobias Harris, who could have, should have, maybe would have been an All-Star this year. Right. Boba is a good backup center to go with Amir, so they can kind of play their minutes.
And on a side note to that, we keep the Toby and Bobby relationship together.
Yeah, that's definitely
traveling across America. We love that. America loves the Toby and Bobby relationship. It's crazy.
Right, and then you get Mike Scott, also unheralded. They picked up James Ennis. I'm just talking about Philly as a whole now. What they did to deadline. Why I have them as their winner, but they picked up James Ennis. He's shooting about 37% from 3.
Be a good defensive rotational player.
And with not being as important to Philly as he was to Houston, because Houston had him starting, he's gonna be bigger for Philly, I believe. And then Philly also, they traded Markelle Fultz to get Jonathan Simmons, so get a backup.
And not only with Jonathan Simmons coming in, they also brought in a first round and a second round pick.
Right, so you get 2 picks back that you got rid of.
And the funniest thing about that first round pick, that's their pick, right? They traded that pick away like 2 years ago.
Wow, I did not know that at all.
Yeah, this is basically a pick they traded like 2 years ago.
Right.
And they're getting it back.
And that's good, though, because, they potentially losing the pick to Sacramento. If it's not number 1, Sacramento gets their pick. And
no, that's Boston.
Really? That's what it is? Boston. So my bad about
Boston.
that. So
if Sacramento makes the playoffs, Sacramento keeps that pick.
Sacramento keep the pick. So there you go. And it has to be number 1 for Philly to keep it. So now they went from not even having a pick and trading away 4 picks to getting 2 picks and putting themselves back in the draft. And I believe they got a pick in another trade. I could be wrong. I think they got a pick in the Malachi trade. So I think Philly shot
they got
Elden Brand.
A second round pick for Malachi Richardson, I think it was. Or did they trade it? Yeah, second round pick for Malachi from Toronto.
I think
Toronto got cash consideration.
I think Elden Brand has really been doing, especially his first year on the job, and he came in there, you already got Joel, you already got Ben, but he's like, look, man, the process is over. We made the playoffs last year, second round, we trying to go to the finals. That don't mean they're going to win the finals this year because you're adding important pieces. But Philly definitely, they went from not having depth to having on paper, the second best starting 5 in the NBA, and they're deeper now. I wish they had a better backup point guard. TJ McConnell does a good job, but he's too undersized.
I will say this as well. I wish there was a way they could have kept Shamet in Tobias trade.
Man, I wish they could. I think
Shamet. Getting Jonathan Simmons, that kind of because he's a
solid shooter.
He's a bigger shooter, and he's also a defensive wing, so that helps.
And he could guard 3 positions.
Right. I say you could throw him into that Rocco role that. They haven't been missing, but they could have been using off the bench behind Jimmy Butler.
Right. So, so I think Elton Brand did a damn good job. He's been doing a really good job, getting Jimmy Butler, getting Tobias, and I know it's already been said that they want to keep them together. And this is my personal opinion. I think even if you lose Jimmy Butler, going forward with Tobias, knowing that he's about to be 26 and Jimmy's about to be 30, and your anchors are Ben and Joel, you're still really setting yourself up well. And if you lose the money that's coming out the book for Jimmy, you get that to sweeten JJ's deal a little more, and you fill that position. So Philly's really setting themselves up well. I really like what Brand's doing, and that's no bias.
For the next 4 to 5 to 6 years, maybe, with all the players outside of maybe Jimmy being in that sub 30, in that under 30 club.
All right, so I got a question then. So to go to the next thing, to stick on Philly a little bit, and then we'll move on. So they're clearly primed to go to the finals, to make the finals, to make a run at the finals. I think they should at least make the Eastern Conference Finals. Who do you think the most pressure is on? I personally put that on Brett Brown. That's why I'm asking you. But who do you think? I think Brett Brown and Joel needs to
personally,
step up.
I still put it on Brett Brown. Joel and Ben and Jimmy and Tobias do have to play to their potential and JJ Redick as a 5-man unit.
Second best 5, like other than the Warriors, who has a better starting lineup?
Outside of Jimmy and JJ, I know Ben and Joel, they made the playoffs last year. Right. But nobody on this Philly team really still, I know it's crazy, but this is still only Joel Embiid's 3rd year playing basketball in the NBA.
Right, only Ben's second.
Ben's second. So this is still, I think we overlook that it's because they're so talented and how fast they hit the ground running, even this year, coming off of last year. I think it's on Brett Brown to now to figure out how to get this somewhat young team and young core to work together and pull off, of course, an expected playoff victory, but even maybe a victory that team, that people might not have them against. Like maybe they can pull off a win a series against Milwaukee. Bringing in Tobias brings in a player now. If they, we're gonna get to Toronto in a minute because they also made a big move. But Tobias get them another shooter where you can stretch Toronto defense out even more. And now they got to expend more defenders so they can't double down on Joel or close the lane on Ben Simmons.
They definitely got better with shooters, which they needed badly. Better with shooters.
And I think Tobias, as far as the Celtics matchup go, I think Tobias matches Markieff. Jonathan Simmons matches Terry Marcus. I always get them two mixed up. My bad. If y'all hear this, my bad. Marcus plays for the Celtics. Markieff plays for New Orleans now.
He's currently on New Orleans. They're about to buy him out, though.
Oh, they're about to buy Markieff out. So
Markieff, who knows? I think he's probably going to. Well, no. Probably go to the Lakers or the Clippers or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, he's about to get bought out.
Okay, so yeah, Marcus. I think Tobias matches up with Marcus good. I think Jonathan Simmons matches either Marcus Smart or Terry Rozier. So I think they make some, and like I say, then Mike Scott comes in, he match whatever swing comes off the bench for the Celtics.
Right, and that ability to always have two all-star level players on the court, literally at all times, and at worst one. It's really never a reason to not have Ben, Joel, Jimmy, or Tobias on the court unless you're kicking somebody's ass by 30 and the game's over. There's no reason not to have at least one of them on the court. I mean, you always see it with the Warriors. You always see either Clay out there or Steph or KD or
Draymond. Or now DeMarcus
Cousins. So when you got that five, you got to use it.
Right. You got to use it to best your advantage. You have any honorable mentions from the trade deadline?
I actually like what Toronto did getting Mark, because Jonas, they clearly like having that big center, because for one, it gives you an advantage against the Warriors. Well, it did in the past. Now they had DeMarcus Cousins, so we'll see how that goes. But you got to address Joel Embiid in the East, and quite frankly, Serge Ibaka wasn't going to do it. Jonas is always hurt, so you don't know if he's going to be there or not. Because even Boston, Embiid abused him. But after Horford, even Boston had a big body in Aaron Baines to bang with Embiid. Right. So now you get Marc Gasol, former Defensive Player of the Year, who's not what he used to be.
He's averaging 17 and 7-ish, I think, or 18 and 7.
And he's still formidable defensively. He's a better shooter now than he was. Better passer.
He's more mobile. You can move him around from the elbow to the top of the key, back down to the paint.
So I really like what Toronto did. So I like Toronto. Toronto's been one of my picks to go to the finals anyway this year. So I'm looking at Toronto and Philly in the Eastern Conference Finals right now. I think that's who we're going to see. I feel like right now and it may change, but I know Philly has Indiana in the first round right now. We still got a couple months to go. But I think Toronto and Boston is going to fight it out. I would take Toronto over Boston, and I think Philly could beat the Bucks. So I like Philly and Philly versus Toronto in the conference finals right now. So I like what Toronto did. I was surprised. I thought they were going to ship out Kyle Lowry and get Mike Conley. I thought they actually had a better chance of getting Conley.
What they were going to do, they were going to get Conley and Gasol.
I thought they were just going to get Conley, though. I thought Gasol, because the talk was Gasol going to Charlotte, but Charlotte's lower in the playoff race, so he probably X'd that out. But I know he was talking. I don't know if he talked to Jordan or the GM, but I know he was talking to Charlotte. So I thought Mark was going to go to Charlotte, and I thought Kyle was coming to Kyle, excuse me. I thought Kyle was going to Utah, and I thought Conley was going to Toronto, and Ricky Rubio was going to Memphis. That was like a thing that was talked about, and then, like you say, it was a trade for Mark and Conley to Toronto, which I think would have made Toronto nasty. I mean, Mike Conley on that team with
Kawhi,
them and you
Danny Green, that'd be a great. Yeah, that would have been some great lineups up there. A lot of versatility.
So Toronto was a good pickup, and I'm trying to think of one more good deal that I
actually have two. Mm-hmm. If you can't think of one, I have Rodney Hood going to Portland. That gives them size, shooting, versatility in the lineup.
I'm not high on Rodney Hood. I like the idea for Portland because they could use Rodney Hood if he plays to his potential.
That's why I like it. He had 14 off the bench in his first game last night. Only 2 threes.
How much? 14?
14. He had 2 threes. So he was doing a lot of posting up, taking smaller players off the dribble.
Maybe Portland will be like Utah for him. Low pressure situation, because you go to Cleveland where they expect to win and he lay egg. Now you come back this year, LeBron gone, you getting your chance to play, but the team's terrible and he been non-existent this year. So you go to Portland, you winning, He's probably gonna come off the bench, but he could potentially even start. I mean, Harkless is supposed to start 3.
But you get more. You get now. You can run so many versatile lineups with just him, Dame, CJ, Evan Turner, and Seth Curry, where it's always at least one shooter on the court, if not 2, and that spreads out the court for Nurkic when they do decide to bring. They do run the CJ, Dame, and Rodney Hood lineup.
Right. So lower pressure actually should. I feel
and
like
it also turns Farouk into a slasher and defender unless it was spot up shooter now.
Who?
Farouk, Chief.
Oh yeah. Definitely turns Chief, and that's a good role for him. So Rodney Hood could be very important for Portland because I feel like he could really feel the need for them, or he's gonna be like they're gonna get rid of him in the offseason. So Rodney Hood, he clearly has always had the talent. So now it's on him to just step up.
And the second one I had was Greg Monroe going to the Nets.
I did not know that Greg Monroe got traded before just this moment. So. Okay.
And I think that was something the Nets needed. They need a big man that could score. Like Jared Allen is good as far as defense, energy, putback dunks. But Greg Monroe gives them a true post scorer, and not only a post scorer, but a post passer.
I think is he on an expiring deal also?
I think so. I think he's signed for 1 year in Toronto this year.
Okay, so if it don't work out, no money holding on Brookings cap because we know they had 2019 summer dreams.
With Karis LeVert and Spencer Dinwiddie expected back by the middle of March, and then I think Greg Monroe and D'Angelo Russell will be going back, not exactly like the Porzingis and Luka pick and roll, but I think D'Angelo Russell with his creativity with the ball in his hand, and Greg Monroe I know it's crazy because people see Greg Monroe as having slow feet, but on the offense, in the post with the ball in his hand, he's probably one of the quicker players down there.
And he's an excellent passer. Been a great passer since high school when he was the number 1 player in the country. So, Greg Monroe could really help them out. Honestly, that is a good pickup for them. Yeah. I didn't know that he was traded though. So
that was actually the last trade. I think that was the last trade I saw yesterday.
That's how crazy the trade deadline was. It's trades that
because the Lakers did get Anthony Davis or no other big all-star move, no big superstar move or whatever. I guess it was considered a boring trade deadline.
Right. So, all right, I got one thing about the trade deadline, and then I guess we can go to All-Star for a second. So I'm gonna just kind of end it with. Anthony Davis didn't get moved. Obviously, that was what everybody expected to happen. Rich Paul and Anthony Davis went to the Pelicans about a week and a half ago, whenever it was, and it was about 10 days before the deadline. And they said that he wanted to be traded. Didn't give him a team then, but then they came back and gave him teams. He didn't go nowhere. And so they said that they're going to let him play. He's going to play out the rest of the year, which I think if he's healthy, we all assumed was going to happen. They weren't going to sit him out the rest of the year.
Yeah, right.
They're still running a business. He's under contract. That would be fucking stupid.
Exactly.
But my question is, so who trades for him in the offseason? Because he's clearly done. I don't think he comes into training camp with the Pelicans.
If he doesn't come into training camp with the Pelicans, I really don't know. I don't see New Orleans actually doing a deal with the Lakers. And the package I've seen from
the Lakers package is not going to change, number one. And Zubac, it is going to change, so he's out of that. Right. So no Zubac, no Michael Beasley. They were two of the many players offered.
So now the main packages in the offer is Kuzma, Zoe, and Ingram. Do you throw Josh Hart in there? And maybe that's Josh Hart still those 2 picks?
I would think so. Like, he would have to be an option because you have to go either Josh Hart or like KCP. So I would think
in the offseason, KCP probably wouldn't matter because since he's on that 1 year deal. So do you really need him to match the money?
So in the offseason it wouldn't matter. So you in the offseason you have to put Josh Hart in there because KCP ain't even an option.
And unless you do a sign, because you're not really going through all the work to do a sign and trade with KCP, are you?
Right. So only way that would work is if the Lakers draft pick was extremely high, but the Lakers may make the playoffs, and even if they don't, they're gonna have a high record. So like they're gonna be at the bottom of the lottery.
Right.
I'm not trading Anthony Davis for the bottom of the lottery pick. So
and then the one I've been seeing from the Celtics, I just saw it yesterday afternoon. I guess after the trade deadline for the summer, it was Jason Tatum, Al Horford, Gordon Hayward, and a pick for Anthony Davis. Do you like that one? I want to say Terry Rozier was in there too, as Rose will be looking for a star point guard as well.
And Rozier was sweetening the deal.
Would you take that? Which deal do you think is better?
I probably, if I'm getting Al Horford, because you get the experience and then you get Tatum, I probably would take Boston's pick, mainly because you get the experience with Horford. You get, you can get Tatum, who you could argue may be the best player out of all the, it just depends on who you like, Tatum, Ingram, or Kuzma, out of that. But I think the sweetener is Boston has better draft assets because their picks aren't their picks. So they can, like we were just saying, if the Kings don't make the playoffs, whatever, they get their pick.
But they also still have the Memphis pick, which
exactly.
Pick.
So you can trade the Memphis pick, you can trade the Kings pick, you can trade the Memphis and the Kings pick. So their picks is really the assets that put them above. I don't think it's necessarily the players because I don't think it's a slam dunk that Jason Tatum is better than Ingram or Kuzma. It just depends on who you like. I personally think Ingram is better than Tatum. Some people think Kuz is the best. A lot of people think Tatum is the best. So, but that just really depends on who you think the best. And then you get to Lonzo and Scary Terry. I probably would take Lonzo. Lonzo got better size, he's a better defender, he's more reliable, and I'm just not high on Terry Rozier. Right. But then you get that experience with Al Horford, you still will have Randall, so they're really not terrible, and that pick would be so high, it would be good. So I like Boston. I'm just interested to see where the Knicks end up, because if the Knicks get 1 or 2 pick, Anthony Davis is going to the Knicks. And
I can see that happening.
I think Zion is worth more than everybody. Not because he's a better player, but he's going to be the number 1 pick. It's a fresh start. We all know the YouTube sensation he is, so people's coming to the games. I think if I got number 1 pick, I want Zion. And I don't want Jason Tatum. I don't want Ingram. I want Zion. And he's better contract-wise because even though Tatum and Ingram, they're all on their rookie deals, they're going to get re-upped before Zion is. He ain't in the league yet. So it's going to be at least 4 years before you have to pay him. So I think if the Knicks are 1, for sure they get him. 2, you can kind of swing the deal because you can do the number 2 pick. You can throw in Dennis Smith because you may, like I say, they want to get Kemba or
DeAndre Jordan to help sweeten it.
Well, DeAndre Jordan actually be a free agent, so it had to be a sign and trade because he signed a 1 year to go to Dallas, and then Dallas shipped him out. Mark Cuban's revenge. Shout out to Mark Cuban. That was definitely Mark Cuban's revenge.
And on that note, people, the Hoopers got to take a quick intermission real quick. When we come back, we will talk about All-Star game, All-Star draft, and go for some scores from last night.
Sounds good. This dude.